Hello, my name is Adrian van den Broek. I'm a photographer and filmmaker from Sweden. I've spent 8 trips now going to Ukraine, working for humanitarian organizations, doing their communication as well as documenting the war, making documentaries. I have 1.5 years in the Swedish Armed Forces, of which 5 months was on contract for the combat camera unit. I did one of these videos way back now after my first trip to Ukraine, and I went through my run and gun documentary setup. I've trimmed it down and added some stuff, so I want to go through this and just make a video of how I build my camera rig, what I bring, and this is going to be a 2-part video. This is the first part, and the second part, which is equally important, is how do I back up my material and how do I go about all the huge amount of data that I get sometimes in very remote areas of the world. We will actually go to Croatia and have like an example of how we work when we go there, so that's going to be a fun one. But we're going to start here today. I have been looking a lot for the perfect camera. I was using the Lumix S5 first, which is a great camera, I really like that, but what ruined it for me during my first 2 trips is the face autofocus, just tracking faces and autofocus in general. It ruins some shots that I will never get the opportunity to get again. And when you're in the field, you can't carry a big camera rig. Usually you're traveling with teams who are like a big group of people packed into a car. You can't have all this stuff, and you just want the camera to be something that you can throw around your shoulder, not being too intrusive, not being too big, and just being able to throw it out and capture amazing 4K cinema image. So I settled with this, the Lumix GH7. When this came out, it just ticked a lot of boxes. You always need to look at what type of work you do, because there will be some things you just can't be without. There are better cameras than this. The Nikon ZR, for example, that just came out.
What did you just say?
The Canon C50. There's a lot of great cameras out there, but if they don't have a specific spec that will pay your bills, then it's basically useless for you. And for me, that was 2 features that this camera has. The first one is IBIS. The in-body stabilization in this camera is amazing. It's the best probably in the market. I can be on a zoom in and I can be walking and following a person and it will still look like it's handheld. You have the Sony FX3, which is amazing camera, looks so good, and the color science and all that, but it's jittery. The sensor, the IBIS, is calibrated for photo, meaning that it will jump into places. So if you're holding it, it will just jump into the right place waiting for you to take a picture. But to have it calibrated for video is a bit more different, because then you want it fluent all the time, and this is what they did really well. And just having a stable shot can be the difference of using that shot and not using that shot. Second feature that made me pick this camera is open gate. Because I work in communication, I do social media, and having an open gate that I can have vertical as well as the horizontal, and also move the frame to the left and right depending on what I'm filming, that is super useful. What I don't like about this camera is the stills photos. There will never be a perfect camera, unfortunately. In the army, we used the Canon R5 Mark II, and the stills in these cameras are just, they're just mind-blowing compared to what you get out of this. Let's jump into more of how I built the camera. So, lens. I actually bought the kit lens, the 12-60. This is the G Vario. The reason why I didn't pick the Leica, this one is lighter. When I'm carrying the camera like this with this lens, it's so tiny and so light that when I have it on the side, it doesn't abrupt the center point of gravity of the camera. So it's just very easy and convenient to carry around. I usually don't change the lenses. I'm happy to have a 12-60, something like this, a zoom lens with autofocus that I can just throw on there. It's only f3.5 at 12 millimeters, and that has been a problem for me when it's darker outside. It could have been better in low light. So what I use for Neckstrap is the Peak design, and these are really good because you can have these points at the camera and then you can just clip on the strap like that. I have a small rig cage, because usually I have the top mic, which we will talk about in a little second here, and I also have sometimes a lamp like that. So I need to have 2 hot shoe mounts on the camera, and having a cage allows you to do that. And also then the mounting points for the Neckstrap basically. let's jump to the ND filter. They get all experimental with these things, how you can vary the polarization and all these things. Technology. What I really like is just a simple variable ND that you just simply screw on to the lens that has broad enough spectrum going from light, so you don't have to screw it off all the time, especially when you take stills, to having it dark enough just to get a good depth of field when it's a bit brighter outside. Sometimes it can get very bright, especially when I was in Africa recently. I had to have the ND on at max setting all the time because it was just so bright, even for the GH7 there. If you don't have VND, you'll be locked to working around the F18, F20, F22. So having a VND for me is essential part of the kit. I also always bring a lamp. It's powered by USB-C, and I usually put it on here when I do an interview when it's dark. This is a tiny little tripod that I bought in the south of Ukraine. I've seen this go on many different brands. You can find it probably on Amazon. It's very small and easy to carry. That's the only reason. Video mic NTG. It's an active shotgun mic that is one directional. It only records to where you point it at. My subjective opinion is that the audio of this microphone is really good. I say that coming from having educational background in audio for 6 years. I did 3 years in music production and 3 years in audio for visual media. Most of the things that you will see on my channel and my documentary is recorded with this microphone. It's at a depth to it, and it records enough of a spectrum that you can mess with it in post-production and still don't bother with it, because the audio of it coming straight out the mic is really good. What I like about the red mic also is that it stops here. It doesn't have an additional microphone cable going out from the side there. So this I can, just like that, throw it on to the back here, throw it out, and just start filming. I can charge it with a power bank together with the camera. This is all USB-C, so I can take my power bank while I'm in the car or anywhere. I can just put 2 cables into the camera and into the microphone. And having a good LAV microphone is also essential. So what I use is the Tascam DR10L, which is also, to my ears, this LAV microphone sounds perfectly fine, very good. You can just turn it on, clip it onto the person you want to record, and then it will fix with the volume itself. So that's all from the camera side. So I want to do a quick section here talking about the more miscellaneous stuff, which happen to be what camera bag I use and some of these items here. I will talk first about this thing. So Freewell reached out to me about their ND filter. I was looking at their website when they reached out, and I found this thing. I've brought this everywhere. It's like a metal sheet here, and you clip it out, and here you can fit 2 SD cards, 6 micro SD cards, 2 SIM cards for your phone, and you also have this little pin thing to actually change the SIM card, a CFast Express Type B card, and you also have a space for a CFast Express Type A card. So that's for storage, and then you can also hook this to your laptop and actually like insert these and read them into the computer. When you've been out during the day and you recorded this really good footage, you're very happy about it, your client is happy, you need to get that from the camera to the laptop. And when you're messing with like copying from the camera, and the camera battery might die because you're copying for a very long time, it's so much nicer to just turn the camera off properly, take the card out, insert it here. Same with the Tascam DR10, the micro SD card. Like every folder for each card slot appears in the computer. I can safely copy that. This you might not always find yourself carrying around. Like you will be at some point where you just don't have the camera bag around. This you always have in your pocket. So you can record in Apple Log. You can do that in 4K. You will not be able to mess so much with the aperture and the zoom, but it gives you a gorgeous 4K image. And that's actually all that matters. DaVinci Resolve recently patched so you can actually edit these ProRes files inside DaVinci Resolve. So that's really cool. Next item, electricity. You will not get far without any electricity. This is a power bank that is rated at 27,000 milliamp hours. You have pretty common with a 10,000, with a 20,000. You can't bring on airplanes power banks that are bigger than 27,000 milliamp hours. Pretty pinpoint. I'm not gonna sponsor or lift any names here of any power banks because they're all the same. It's just a big old battery. Another item I always bring now is Apple AirTag. And that's just a peace of mind when you, for example, leave your camera bag in the hotel room and you're out somewhere else. Another item that I always bring is the cross travel adapter. Basically what you can do here is you can go anywhere in the world, you can hook this into the wall and you can charge your whatever with your normal charger that you use, and also have 2 slots for USB charging. So you can charge 3 devices at the same time, and it has a tiny little protection fuse. When you're in a shady place, bad electricity, power spikes, very expensive camera gear, that doesn't go well together. At least it's a guarantee that it will not completely fry your equipment if there would be a power spike, which happens. That happens in Indonesia actually. And it fried my friend's computer's power brick. That was very scary. And lastly, for the small items, so what I wanted is just a waterproof wallet where I can bring my passport and all my cards, and I found this one, which is called LAV Venture. Having a good travel wallet that can keep everything and also waterproof and safe is so good. And I also want to talk about my watch.
Oh, it's my wristwatch alarm.
I can take my GPS point now, and it will update depending on where you are in the world and give you, it's already done, and I can from now see immediately that the sun rises in the morning at 6:05 a.m. and it sets at 19:21 p.m. and that is very relevant for when you record around the blue hour and the golden hour, which will give you the most beautiful footage. And when you don't have any lights brought with you, having beautiful natural light is such an important key to get good material. So I use that watch for that all the time. I can calculate and see how long time will it take me from getting from here to recording location, and when will the sun set on the horizon, so I can get that hour properly and record all the material I want during that time. And sometimes you're in remote areas and you don't have internet and you can't research that, and having that like GPS based in the watch is super good. This watch has I think 30 days of battery, and it also gives you air pressure. So if you know some basic things about air pressure and the weather, that's also very useful. You can tell when it might start raining. You have these super cool backpacks that are made for camera gear. They're even tactical sometimes with the mole. I never use that, for the simple reason that when I'm traveling around the world and more affected areas, I don't want a bag that's screaming, hey, I have a bunch of very expensive stuff in here. Like, especially as a documentary filmmaker, you just want to blend into the surrounding and capture whatever is around you. So I will not advocate for any camera bag today. What I want to show you is this thing. This is a camera module. This is by Newer, this particular version. Here I put my camera. I have some extra paddings in here. I put all my lenses and the camera stuff in here. And this I can fit in any bag now, any backpack. And with that, you can get very much more modular and flexible around how you travel and how you carry your gear. So I have usually 2 backpacks in Ukraine. This is the one I bring the most. I usually put the camera module here, and I have a little bit of space for my clothes in the top here. This is like the, let's say, the clothes I can bring here are usually good for maybe 1 week, 3 days to 1 week if I go on small missions. And then I also have this one by M-Tac, which is a slight larger one. Can also fit the camera module right here, and this fits more stuff. They fold up like suitcases like that. You can go to a hotel and you know, you can open up everything like this and it will just be open up and you can access everything. Only bad side here is that it will take more time to quick access everything. Most importantly, as mentioned, it doesn't look like expensive backpack, and when you go to more affected areas, that is super important. That was a long video. I hoped you got some value out of this going through my setup here. Next video we're going to talk about how I back up all my footage off-site through the internet, encrypted basically. It's a whole system I set up. Very safe, very effective. So stay tuned for that, and see you in the next video. Take care.